Welcome back to AI Hands and Minds. If you're new here, this is a part of 14-part workshop series where we build a complete powered AI auto insurance agent from scratch using AWS Bedrock, AgentCore, Strands, MCP, Gateway, RAG, etc. Each workshop builds on its previous one, so highly recommend watching the previous workshop first. The links are given below. If you're already caught up, that is good. Welcome back. Let's dive in. This is workshop number 6. So in this workshop, what we are going to be doing is the phase number 1. What is phase number 1? So essentially, we are going to build a hello world kind of agent core app. We will quickly build a very simple. We will just push it to the agent core without accessing any Lambda, without accessing any DynamoDB, without accessing any gateway, without accessing anything. We will just push the code, one agent core, and then we will make sure it connects to the AWS account and it is deployed correctly and it's talking to the agent core. So that's what we are going to be doing quickly. We also do one Streamlit UI to make sure the browser also sees it properly. So this is what this workshop is all about. So let us jump and do the hands-on demo. Here is the policies which I have for my users. So this is what I'm using it now, but what I have given is generally for testing the agent core. Of course, when you work on a real project, make sure you give the minimum policy required. Don't give this much access. So we are in Kiro IDE in my Windows laptop. So my laptop is set up in such a way that when I click a new terminal, and I come here, by default it goes into WSL and lands in Ubuntu Linux operating system. What you see in the terminal is the Ubuntu interface, so make sure you do that. That way Windows can directly access the Linux, which means Linux can use the Kiro CLI. So we have created a virtual environment here inside the Ubuntu. In order to enable this virtual environment, I typically run this command. Here is one echo command which I have created in order to display all the softwares which I have installed here. So I'm going to run this. You can take a look at it, and this is my list of softwares what I have installed in my Kiro CLI. So here is the output of my echo command. The first one is showing my Ubuntu operating system, and the rest of the list you can take a look at it. And now you can see this 4 parameters which is not showing up the versions. The reason because these 4 are installed underneath my virtual environment. So this will show up only after you enable the virtual environment. And of course, the last parameter is what you're seeing is the AWS connection information. So this will show up only after you run the command AWS configure. Run this command which will enable the virtual environment. So now the virtual environment is enabled, and if you run the echo command one more time, you will see those 4 versions which was missing earlier. So now you'll see the Strands Agents, Strands Agents tool, Bedrock Agents, AgentCore, Ubuntu version, all those are showing up. So that is good. So that's what I have in my setup. So now I'm creating a directory for my project, and I get into the directory and run this command to make sure the AgentCore creates the required folders and the required files in order to do the AgentCore related operations. So this is my project name. Hit enter. Then it will ask whether I want to add agent. I'm answering yes. And then it's asking for agent name, and this is my agent name. And in this case, we're going to bring our own code. And then you hit enter twice. And of course, main.py is our entry program, which will you copy from the GitHub later. So once you hit enter, it's going to create the folder structure for the agent core. And here we're going to choose the direct code deploy. This is important because there are two options. If you choose the container, it will create the ECR repo, but we are going to choose the direct code deploy, which will create the zip file and a JSON in S3. So we're going to choose that in order to make it a little simpler. And here we will hit the default, and the next one is also will hit the default. And then hit one more time, and it's going to create the folder structure for you. It'll take 1 or 2 minutes. Let us pause and come back. It's over. So I'm just refreshing to make sure the directory structure is there. So if you look at it, so this is the project has got two folders, AgentCore, where you have a agentcore.json, which will contain the build as a zip code or not. And then the next folder is where we are going to copy our code from the GitHub. Right now it's empty. We'll start working from there. So now I'm going to go to my GitHub. This is the workshop repo where I'm going to copy these 3 files. So make sure to copy these 3 into the Kiro IDE in the app folder where I'm showing. I just copied it. So this is the requirements file, how it looks. And if you open the main.py, this is the import program which will be running. So here's what we are using the strands, and here we are using the Bedrock AgentCore, and the line number 21 is where we are going to put the LLM model, what we are going to be using it. And if you scroll down, it's a very simple program. It's basically just sends one request to the LLM. So now you scroll up, you see the system prompt. This is the important one, right? So this is where we're going to inject the artificial intelligence to the program, to the system, saying that, hey, this is what you're going to be doing. Make sure to follow these rules and respond accordingly. So now we are going to run this command, agentcore dev. So essentially what it does is it's going to open a browser locally, and it will enable us to do the unit testing. Essentially, we are ready to run locally to do the unit testing. It doesn't deploy anything in the cloud, except it just accesses the cloud LLM to get the answers. So I'm going to hit enter, and it will open a browser automatically. So it automatically opened the browser. We didn't build anything. It all happened underneath as part of the agent core. So let's ask a question here. What can you do for me? Okay, the answer is here. So essentially what it does is the connection went to the AWS cloud, executed the LLM, and brought the answer back in a real time. So that means this program is working. It's able to access the AWS cloud with the proper account related authentication, and it is able to access the agent core runtime, and it's able to run through the LLM foundation model and then bring the answers. And of course, we can also do the unit testing directly inside the cloud. So what you see is the agent core menu, where after we deploy, we will see our agent here, but right now we don't have our agent here. These are all my test agents, which I used to do before, but I just want to show the screen. That way, after we deploy, you will see the resources 3. Right now we have only 2 resources. And the S3 I wanted to show before we deploy. Right now there is one bucket. If you open that bucket, you will see a lot of JSON files and zip files. These are all my old files, but after you do the deploy, we're going to do the deploy in a minute. Once we do, we will see a fresh set of JSON, a fresh set of zip file coming here. So that's what we'll be seeing it. Similarly, the CloudFormation template will also be created after you run the AgentCore deploy. Right now we have 3 stacks, but we will see the 4th stack after we run the AgentCore deploy. So at this point, what we have done is just AgentCore dev. So we will do the Control C to stop it, and then we will run the AgentCore deploy. So this time AgentCore dev is complete, which means the dev testing is done. Now the next part, we are going to push the code into the AWS cloud. Essentially, we will deploy the code. So that is what this command will do. So we will do the AgentCore deploy command and hit enter. So it's going to go through multiple steps here and it will take a few minutes. So we are just going to pause and come back. So it is over. So the deployment is done at this time. Now we should see the agents deployed in the AWS cloud. Let us jump into the cloud and take a look at it, what we see there. So this is the cloud stack formation information. This is the cloud formation stack screen. If you refresh, you will see a brand new stack appearing here. So that is part of the AgentCore deploy. Similarly, if you go to AgentCore screen, we will see a runtime there. If you click the runtime menu, we will see a new agent showing up. Yeah, the first one is what we just pushed it through, and it just happened. Now, if you look at the timestamp, and similarly, if you go to the S3 bucket, you will see our zip code, zip file, and the JSON file, which is essentially what the main.py program and rest of the things which will be required in order to run this functionality. Yeah, the first two files, this zip file, the first two files, the zip file and the JSON file is what got created automatically because of the AgentCore deploy operation. So it's time to run and see whether it works in the right way. So the first, let us do the bare minimum test through the command called AgentCore invoke. So we're just going to ask a question through this command. Now it will invoke the AgentCore and get the response. Now it answered it. The answer looks correct. So that means the deployment happened successfully and the testing is successful. So that completes the basic testing. So if you copy the same question and if you go to the cloud, we can also do unit testing here. So if you click the test button on the right corner and you give the same question what you typed in earlier in the Kiro CLI, we just copied and pasting it here. And if you click the run, this will give the same answer or similar answer what you see outside, which means we are able to test both in cloud, which is here, and staying outside in my laptop through Kiro CLI directly from the CLI. So we tested both and it works. So now this is working nice and clean. And the screen shows what is the difference between the dev mode and the deploy mode. And when we do the AgentCore deploy, what gets created in the cloud and why. So if you look at the list, we have S3 gets created, CloudWatch obviously, CloudFormation get created, ECR no, because why ECR is not created, as I said, if you go to the next slide, if you look at your agentcore.json, there's a parameter build. If it contains code zip, that means it will upload your files to S3, which is what we did. But if you choose ECR container when you do the one of the operations earlier, what we showed, it's going to create the ECR and related things. So far what we learned concept is agent core runtime and Strands agents. If you open the main.py, we have included those agents. Similarly, the Bedrock AgentCore app and all those things. So at this point, we have completed the Hello World AgentCore app, which we pushed it through a developer perspective. Now, in the next few minutes, we are going to be doing the same thing through the browser. So essentially, the developer is going to create the Streamlit file and give it to users, and user is going to run through browser in order to access the agent core. So let us go on to the next workshop. So every time when you come here, make sure you run this command in order to enable your virtual environment, otherwise things may not work. So I'm creating a new directory here, getting into the new directory. So right now it's black. So I'm going to go to the GitHub and copy this, but before that, make sure this is accessing the AWS account. Since I came next day or later, I lost my connection, so now I did the AWS configure, which created the connection. I went to the GitHub. I'm copying this Streamlit program and bringing it to the Kiro IDE. So the program is copied. If you open this program, so we just need to change two parameters here, right? The line number 19 and 20. Make sure you put the right information. Line number 19 is where the 20 is where the region code is. Line number 19 will be the runtime ARN, which you see on the left side panel. Okay, make sure to copy and put it here. So it's a very simple Python program. Essentially, it is going to take one input from the browser and it sends it across the wire and make a connection to this agent core and then get the answers back. So before we run, make sure you have Streamlit installed here in your CLI. So I have version 1.58 Streamlit. So this is the command to run the Streamlit program, and hit enter. It will open the browser automatically. Okay, so this is how the browser would look like, and we're going to type in our questions, and then we are just clicking the how do I file a claim, and the question is sent to AWS Cloud, and the LLM is thinking now and it brought the answer back, which means the answer looks pretty good. So that completes our workshop number 6. So the next phase, what we're going to build is to create a MCP gateway number 1, the 3 Lambda functions, and DynamoDB, all those the real things which you're going to be doing in the next phase. So we will see you in the other workshop. Thank you guys.